they they didn't hear what happened before we started. But my man's over here was counting down backwards in Spanish, and it was hilarious. He got to 3 and was like, "I don't know what 2 or 1 is. I forgot."
I remember what 1 is, but I'm not supposed to say 1, so that the recording doesn't pick it up.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. I love it. I love it. That's great. You trailed off though. You got to 2 and you were like, something, and then you just stopped talking.
I believe I said dochos, which I don't believe is a Spanish word.
Know if it is. I don't think it is, but I also don't know Spanish, so a lot of it anyway. So, yes. Oh my goodness. Glad we're getting the last out of the way, because this is going to be an interesting show, yeah?
Interesting
It might
to
be so bad.
put it simply, yeah.
Yeah. So, I can't. So without further ado, let's start the show. Of the R&R Gaming Podcast. We are a part of the Joystick Entertainment Network. I'm your host, still with the sniffles, Byron Reed, and alongside me is my co-host,
Ken Rusty with the snorts.
Snorts and Sniffles. I would call it the SNS Podcast, but that's also not a good thing. Those two I put together are not good, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah, we already did that too last episode.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Can't do a recurring bit there. Our whole gimmick is recurring jokes over and over again.
I thought our whole gimmick was
yeah,
just laughing at ourselves.
That's part of it too. Yes.
Okay.
We are the embodiment of like all the gimmicks. But this is going to be interesting. Still sniffling, as you can tell. I'm going to try and do it away from the mic like last week, but no promises. So I apologize in advance. Already
Okay.
yawning over there, boyo.
Sorry, I was up too late last night. I was up till about 1
You
o'clock.
didn't need to start this show. Oh no, that's not good. Why?
Well, because my wife doesn't. When she works the night shift, she usually doesn't get home till about 11:30. And we started cooking, and then we decided to play a card game.
Nice.
While we was eating, so it went on to the wee hours of the morning.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, but sounds like a fun time. I was actually still up playing Overwatch at that point in time. Because I was playing with the new character Moira. This is a good segue into what we're playing. So yeah, Moira dropped yesterday for consoles, and I played a few games with her. She's pretty fun. I do have to do some key changes though, because when you use her orbs, she has 2 different orbs. There's a healing orb and there's a damage dealing orb that bounces. Both orb bounces really cool. But anyway, her healing orb is in her right hand, and her damage orb is in her left hand. However, for some reason, the triggers are inverted. So the healing orb is in the left trigger, and the damage orb is in the right trigger. I'm sorry, that's the other way around. Whatever, it's confusing. That sounds good. Gotta keep the funny rating going on here. No, but yeah, it's Jesus. She's fun to play as. Looking forward to experimenting with her more and seeing what sort of play style she has. The Mercy change was interesting too, because a bunch of other changes went live as well. It was my first time playing with Mercy because we were playing Mystery Heroes last night, and I got Mercy on a life, and I had to res somebody, and it was slow. Like, her hand goes down really slowly, and the animation where she brings you back up to life, it's just, oh man, it's slow, but it makes a lot of the suicide
Mm-hmm.
reses that mercies used to do before pretty much obsolete. You have to cover your mercy now,
Mm.
which in my opinion is a good thing. But they've made so many changes to mercy over the course of the game that I don't agree with. That's a whole other discussion that we can get into later on. What have you been playing?
Well, I actually finished up Super Mario Odyssey. I am done with the game. There is in total that you can find. There's about it's like 880 something, maybe even 870 something moons. But I ended up with
Right.
about 890, and
Jeez.
yeah, and well, they have it also where you can go into one of the clothing stores and you can just buy moons, so that you don't even have to find them. But they're about 100 coins per moon, and um, I I guess I looked it up online because I got to 890, and I'm like, so I can get to 999 moons, but that's going to cost me 190,000 coins. There's no way
Jeez.
I'm getting to 190,000 coins to get to 99 because I don't even know where to start. What's the best place to find coins and get coins? So
Right.
I looked it up, and I gotta say I was super disappointed by what they give you for getting to 999 coins, 999 moons. And I was kind of super disappointed for what they gave you for uh, getting all the stars and all the purple coins in all the worlds.
Huh. And
Um,
what is that?
well,
For those that were wondering, I'm gonna ask for you.
yeah, spoiler alert. If you don't want to know, you might want to skip forward probably 2 minutes. I don't know. Uh,
Skip forward to nine
yeah,
minutes and now.
yeah. Add it, add it later. I'm all talking, and then I talk like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, when you get all the purple coins and you get all the moons that are available in each level, you unlock a boss battle with Bowser again. But it's the same boss battle that you had before to finish the game. It's just slightly harder. And when I played it, I had like no trouble taking care of him. So it was kind of sad. Um, but it is a harder boss battle. And when you beat him, all you get is a picture of all the characters from the game saying thanks for playing.
Boo! Boo!
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I should say
What is the server?
they
Boo!
do change the balloon color in the Odyssey. It goes from a yellow to a gold, so you get that as well. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all you get for getting all the moons and all the purple stars, which to me amounts to nothing. But whatever.
Yeah.
um,
It'd be kind of cool if you got like some sort of exclusive outfit or something.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Something like that. That would
Yeah.
signify, hey,
Well,
I did everything in the game.
yeah.
And
Well, see, there is though. Here's this kick in the pants though. There are when you get X amount of moons, and I don't remember. I think it's something like 500 and maybe like 300 moons, something like that.
mhm.
They actually unlock on the moon, which again, spoiler, because you go to the moon. um, but they unlock the dark side of the moon, and then the darker side of the moon. And
Huh.
uh, with the dark side of the moon, it has it where you fight these mini bosses again, but of course they're again harder this go around. And if you beat them, it unlocks these images for hidden moons that are hidden throughout each of the worlds. And so
Huh.
they're like these images, and you use the images to go and find the moons in the other worlds.
Well, that's cool.
They actually have you take a snapshot. They recommend you take a snapshot so that you can go to the world and open up your image finder in the Switch and kind of look at those so that you remember. Um, and then the darker side of the moon is this really long level that you have to complete all in one shot. There's no like midway point or anything. You have to do it all in one shot. Which that took me probably 200 tries. Like, it was difficult. And once you get to that, there's like a skyscraper that you climb to the top to, and that gives you moons. But when you complete both of those, when you complete the dark side and the darker side, the dark side gives you a king costume. So you got like a crown on and a cape and stuff, and you look like a medieval king, kind of, which is funny. And the darker side, you unlock an invisible cap. And with the invisible cap, it turns you completely invisible, so the only thing you see is your shadow. So trying to run around and do stuff, not very easy, my friend. Not easy at all.
So
but yeah,
it adds like an extra challenge, I guess.
yeah, it would be something if you wanted to challenge yourself. It's kind of like the same as playing it blind. Like, there are people that will do that where they close their eyes or they play it without looking. But anyways, back to the disappointment factor, I guess. Those are both available to you at an earlier stage, and I kind of feel like they could have saved those for much later, like getting all the coins and getting all of the stars. You could have saved the darker place for that. Like, you've completed all the other challenges. Here's one final challenge for you to complete.
Yeah.
You know,
and darker side of the moon or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't do that. They allowed you to play it at 500 moons, if I'm not mistaken. So I was kind of disappointed again by that. And then what I looked up, what you get for either buying up to 99 moons, because you don't even have to find them all. You can buy yourself up to 99 moons if you have enough coins.
Right.
And what you get is there is a hat that gets placed on Peach's castle that if you go up to the top of her castle, swing your cap at it, and let it spin, it plays the old Mario completed a stage sound, like the do 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 do, and fireworks go off.
Hey.
That's it.
Oh.
So you just got to 999 moons. That is all you get.
That is disappointing.
Yeah, like, I'll be honest. What I wanted.
At least people like us, I think it's disappointing.
Yeah. What I wanted though, or what I was kind of hoping for, was that they would allow you to play in the original Super Mario 64, but with the cap. Like, you know, essentially open up this whole new game that you could play, but with the new physics from Super Mario Odyssey.
That'd be kind of cool. Now, what if they did something like that as DLC? I don't know if they could, but what if?
I don't see why they couldn't. But I don't know. Like, if you're telling me it comes with it, yeah, I'm all for it. You're telling me I gotta buy it? I don't know. Like, because I've already played. I mean, I played Super Mario 64 to death back when it came out, back when we had a 64. And, you know, I even bought the Nintendo DS version and played that to death. So, I don't know if I'd want to pay for it. Maybe just because I'm a greedy mofo. But, yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I guess it would depend on how much and how badly I want to play Mario 64 with a cap?
$10.
I might do $10.
Okay.
Like
Alright,
it would be hard
Fair
to
enough.
tell me myself no, I can't play it for $10.
Yeah. That was the lowest price point I had for you in mind. I think
Okay.
that was pretty reasonable though. But no, on to some other, well, I guess good news. I finally got my WWE situation taken care of. It didn't get fixed, but I did end up going through and doing all the things and setting it up again myself.
Oh,
And I finally got to writing again this
okay.
past week. It was when did I post that episode? It was Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday I got to writing again, and then the day after that I posted my Vengeance pay-per-view preview. So things are looking up and going in the right direction with that. So I'm happy about that.
Okay.
That's good news.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. You didn't clothesline a 2K developer?
No, none of that. Nope. Nope. I wanted to super kick the support guy, but it's all good.
You didn't
They
Steve
emailed me
Austin
this
him?
morning, like, no.
The
They
double
emailed me this
dress.
morning. They emailed me this morning and they were like, "Hey, we haven't heard from you in a few days. We're gonna close the claim. If you don't get back to us in a few days or whatever." So I
Mhm.
responded, saying, basically in so many words that I worked it out myself. I hope it doesn't happen again though. And they kind of reiterated the same thing again in another message back to me. So I'm like, were you listening?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I'm
No,
hoping it
they.
doesn't happen again though. I
Yeah.
need to pay more attention next time they do DLC.
Yep. Dealing with those 2K guys. I don't remember why I had to before, but I never got my issue solved, and they pretty much did the same thing to me. Like, oh, hey, you were gonna close your issue. Is it fixed? No, it's not fixed. Well, how can we help? You told me you couldn't help.
Right? Yeah.
You know. But
Yeah. It is what it is though. But anyway, on to our actual news segment of the show.
so it has been announced that Marvel Heroes Omega is being shut down. Sad face. So it's been announced by Disney and Gazillion Entertainment that they are parting ways when it comes to licensing, and that Marvel Heroes Omega will end the service on the end of the year, which is December 31st, 2017. In an official statement, Gazillion Entertainment said, "We're sad to inform our players and our entire Marvel Heroes family that the Marvel Heroes Omega will be shutting down. The Marvel Heroes servers will stay on until December 31st, 2017, and will be removing real money purchases as soon as possible. People will be able to play the game entirely for free once the sunset period commences. We will share the exact date things go completely free as soon as we can. We've had the privilege in entertaining and collaborating with our players for over 4 years. We're extremely humbled by that privilege and wanted to get this message out. Thank you. Thank you to our players, our tireless employees, and everyone involved with the life of Marvel Heroes 2015, Marvel Heroes 2016, and Marvel Heroes Omega." So anyone that I guess still wants to get while the getting is good, you can get this on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One up until the end of the year. But it's kind of sad because as far as I'm aware, there's no reason why Marvel or Disney has to shut it down. Like, unless Disney's putting money into it, like, I don't see why they would want it shut down.
Yeah, and who knows? They might be gearing up for something else, maybe. But
Right?
still,
Well,
I feel you.
I do remember in the past that they announced it was going to do an MMO, and then that fell through, and then like right off the hills, they announced this Marvel Heroes game was coming out,
Right.
and so it was kind of weird. But I mean, it's just like, what are they harming the brand? Like, is Gazillion messing up the Marvel universe?
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
don't
know?
know. I've never played it, so I can't comment one way or the other. But like you said, it is still sad to know that it's shutting down for those that would like to play it still, or are still currently playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I've played it a little bit. It wasn't really my like huge cup of tea, and I didn't like when you
Right.
started like, here's every character that's available, and as soon as you get to the end of that, which is like this huge dumb tutorial, it's like, and now you got to pick one. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You know,
Dude.
and the one you got to pick is this one here. It's like Reed Rogers from the Fantastic Four, but I'm playing as Wolverine here. Well, you can continue to play as him, but as soon as you change, all right, I guess I'll
Alright, I guess
stay with
let's stick
him.
Wolverine
But
then forever. Alright,
yeah,
yeah.
it was kind of weird and awkward to me to play. Like, it looked okay, but it was just kind of awkward. But I definitely might
Mhm.
pick it up if like everything is available and I can do everything. I might go back and try and quickly beat it before it shuts down.
Sounds good to me. Fair enough, I mean. So, my first piece of news, and we're just gonna briefly touch on this because we'll have a whole discussion about it later. But Battlefront 2's microtransactions have been removed, but they will return later. The progression system is now tied to
Like a
gameplay.
cold.
Yeah, and Dice's Oscar Gabrielson said that we've heard that this is overshadowing an otherwise great game. This was never our intention. Sorry we didn't get this right. And as I stated before, microtransactions will return once Dice has made changes to the game. I have yet to fire up my Battlefront 2 through EA Access.
Hmm.
I'm planning to do it at some point. I might do it today just to, check out everything and see what it's all about. So I haven't played the game yet, but I've heard enough uproar over the past few weeks about everything. So, you know, while it's good that they're making these changes, in my opinion, it shouldn't have been this way from the beginning. So that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Okay. Well,
just because you kind of.
I mean, I think it's kind of um like, I don't know. I guess I don't want to get too much into it because we're going to talk about it later, but
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they removed people being able to purchase. Like, now you're just hurting the people that don't have the time to play and are willing to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It's dumb.
Yeah.
That's This is why I prefer Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean, you're wrong, but okay.
I am not wrong, sir.
What the? Mike picked it up? Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Oops.
And I will go to Red Alert to prove it.
Oh no! No red alert.
Alright. But yeah, I can move back to, I guess, my second piece of news. And it's more bad news for Marvel video games. And that's that.
Oh, yeah, how's that?
Yeah. Well, it's that Marvel's Deadpool video game is getting delisted again.
Well,
Yeah. So apparently, the Deadpool video game was first delisted back on December 31st, 2013. And Activision brought the game back and put it high definition on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Steam again. And that was 2 years ago, back in 2015. And now it appears that they are delisting it from the Steam storefront again, And actually, as of recording, it should already be delisted. So,
Huh.
yeah, there hasn't been any word if they're going to remove it from the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store. Right now, it currently is only Steam, and they don't have any word if it's coming back or why it's being delisted in the first place.
That is really interesting. This is the
Hmm.
Deadpool game that came out a few years ago, right?
Yep,
The
it
most recent one? Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
no, it came out quite some time ago, but then they remastered it, and so that it came back 2 years ago.
Okay, I remember playing it. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it's nothing to write home about.
I think it's plenty to write home about. Um, I mean, as far as like the gameplay goes, it was your average game, but as
Yeah,
far as the story
that's what it's
goes,
about for me.
it was a very well written, hilarious game.
It's super funny. I
Like
think it's super funny. It's
one of my
hilarious.
favorite moments is when Wolverine is knocked out and you climb on top of him and you can choose to smack him or to wake him up, and you can like smack him, I
Yeah.
swear to God, 100 times, and every time you smack him he has a new line that he says.
Yeah, no, like yeah, it's a hilarious game. Uh, but the actual gameplay itself is,
I mean,
like you said, lackluster.
I seriously think he
But
says one of the times when he smacks him, he says, "And this is for sewing my mouth shut in the movie."
oh man, Deadpool's one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, he's great. At least in movie and game form. I'm not so sure
Yeah,
about comic form. He's a little too crazy in comic books.
yeah, it could be, but I don't know. I read comics, so do I know.
Yep.
I can feel the horde of angry Deadpool comic fans just rushing towards me. You don't read the comics? No. Fight me. I actually don't. There's a lot of you, please. Anyway, um, my second bit of news is that the first stream for the Curse of Osiris DLC for Destiny 2 happened this past Wednesday, and I took notes, and I'm going to read them to you. So, here we go. There was a video package. Oh, before I start, um, some of this might be spoiler-ish for some of you. So if you don't want to listen, you can fast forward a little bit past this part.
Can
And but if not, you've been warned now.
can you read it like a fairy tale?
God. Uh, no, I actually can't. Not give you satisfaction, sir.
Man, every fairy tale starts out with "Once upon a time."
Yeah, yeah, I guess. So, once upon a time. Yeah, so there was a video package of Osiris to start out the stream. It showed Osiris walking through the Infinite Forest as he was talking to his ghost named Sagira, and a fight breaks out between him and the Vex. He ends up throwing Sagira into a portal, and the package ends. Then they went and talked about some of the story themes for the DLC. They were mystery, adventure, planet hopping, digging into the lore of Osiris and the Vex more. Both of those are very complicated things, so I'm not going to talk too much about that because we're not here for that. But the story takes place a few months after the Red War ends, which, again, spoiler alert, we won. So there's that. um, it goes on to talk about some of the characters we'll meet. We'll meet Osiris, his ghost Sagira, Ikora Ray, and Brother Vance. We already know who Ikora is. Brother Vance was a character in Destiny 1 who gave us the ticket to get into the Trials of Osiris in Destiny 1. They then go on to talk about some of the destinations we'll go to in the DLC. We're gonna be going to Mercury, which is now transformed into a Vex machine world. The core of the planet is hollowed out, and now the Infinite Forest is there. Speaking of the Infinite Forest, that's another place we'll go to. It is a Vex reality engine. So they have designed the space to be different each time you go into it, but they said on stream that it's not procedurally generated, which is interesting to me. They've handcrafted each and every piece of it, so it'll do different things each time. But there are these pillars inside of the Infinite Forest. When Bungie refers to them as trees, because a forest gotta have trees in it. So each tree of the forest can be used to go to a different time of Mercury. This is getting into some of the deeper side of the lore of the Vex, which has to deal with time travel and things like that. So basically, there's three different versions of Mercury. There's the past, present, and future Mercury, and the future Mercury is what they call Dark Mercury. They showed off a screenshot of it, which is really cool. Basically, the sun is gone, and only the Vex are surviving on the planet. So that's all you see, just a bunch of red lights everywhere. Terrifying. And one of the other locations we'll go to is the lighthouse. The lighthouse is returning from D1. It was a special space where Guardians who went flawless in the Trials of Osiris only got to go to. So now it's going to be used as a social space, so to speak. And Deej walked around the lighthouse and showed off a few things. He showed off a big rune-looking thing, and there was a forge behind it. And the forge and the runes are connected. Once you get some of those runes, the forge will activate, and you can forge special weapons that we'll get after the campaign of the Trials of Osiris DLC is over. Then they went on to show off Mercury in the present as a public space, and it's going to have all the fixings of current D2 public spaces. It's going to have lost sectors, public events, things of that nature. And they have created a new public event just for the new area of Mercury, and they said it's the biggest one they've ever done in Destiny so far. I missed what the name of the event was called, if they said it. I don't remember if they said it or not, but if they did, I missed the name. I apologize for that. Then they go on to talk about some of the new activities that we'll be doing in Destiny 2, in the DLC rather. We have the heroic strikes, which will be returning from Destiny 1, which is good. And they also talked about these things called raid layers. It's the new raid activity. It's an add-on to the existing raid. So basically, these are 6-player activities with puzzles, encounters, and we're going to be exploring more of the Leviathan ship, because the ship itself is a world eater. It basically, it eats worlds. It's a big ship. But there's also a new final boss fight at the end, and there'll be a prestige mode for the raid layers as well. And finally, the power level has been increased to 330. The max is 335 with mods, and the max overall level has been increased from 20 to 25. So that was just the first of 3 streams. The next 2 streams will be over the next few weeks. I covered those last week. So once those streams go live and are up and everything, I'll take notes on those, and I'll come back to you guys with information on those as well.
So, first question, is this Trials of Osiris free, or is this going to be content you have to buy, similar to like the House of Wolves?
This Curse of Osiris DLC is the first expansion. So
okay.
You'll have to yeah.
So you will have to.
I don't even know if those are coming back, but yeah,
okay.
The Curse of Osiris is a big DLC in of itself. So yeah, you have to pay for it. There is another DLC coming. That's later on though, but we'll get there. This one's first, obviously.
Yeah. So I gotta give my 2 cents, because that's what I do.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Well, the idea of time travel on Mercury sounds cool. Like, you have the darkness, dark Mercury and light Mercury, whatever. There's a couple of huge flaws. One, if the sun goes out, everything's going to turn super cold. Like, coldest it's ever been. So unless these machines have the ability to withstand, like, minus 2 million Kelvin, like, it's not going to work. So I got to say, flawed. The second thing is that you go into the past, you can't, like, send out a transmission or a message saying, "Hey, shit's gonna get real. Look for this bad guy coming down. He's gonna destroy the rings of Saturn, or there's darkness is coming, or."
Yeah, it's all honestly, it's all really complicated stuff that I'm not that qualified to talk about. You'd
Yeah.
have to talk to Bai for somebody like that.
This is why. See, here's the problem.
Which I would love to do, honestly.
This is why time travel added as a mechanic into a story that didn't have time travel is always a bad idea, because you create paradoxes and things that don't work, and other issues, like, because what are they gonna do? Well, it's just like a pocket universe, so it's just on Mercury. You can't go outside the universe, because if you go outside, then you're in the present time. No, that's just dumb. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I honestly don't know how they're doing the whole thing. And again, like I said, I'm not that qualified to talk about the deeper side of the lore regarding the Vex and the whole time travel thing that they have going on. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
we'd have to talk to Bife about all of that, which, like I said, I would love to do at some point. It'd be really cool for me.
yeah. Who?
Bife. My name is Bife. If you are interested in any of the lore regarding Destiny, in my opinion, he's one of the best to go to. He has a whole channel on YouTube just based around the lore of Destiny and things like that. So I would recommend that you check it out, or I can even show you some videos if you want. But yeah, Bife does good work.
I don't know.
In my opinion, but
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but also they went and got rid of the original writer, and they scrapped like everything halfway through. So it's kind of like,
I remember all that. Yeah.
yeah,
I remember all that.
Yeah, like, I don't know. There's just not enough time to explain. While there's not enough time to explain. That's all I gotta say.
I feel you. Yeah.
So let's finish it up.
One more, right?
Yeah, let's finish it up on a high note, and that's that coming November 20th of this year, Sega's going to announce the new Valkyria Chronicles project, or
nice.
they're calling it Valkyria Project. Over on a Japanese website that, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll try and link to. They've slowly been showing off these silhouettes for characters on the screen, and it's supposed to come to a head on November 20th, in which they'll be announcing the new Valkyria Project game. Being a fan of Valkyria Chronicles, I didn't play the newest one yet. I need to get on that. But being a fan, I'm super excited about this. I can't wait. And for sure I'm going to, I guess, bring this up next week. Like, it's going to happen. Just be prepared. Because I will definitely bring it up. But good news for people that like strategy RPGs or action RPGs like the last one.
Yeah, I don't play the Valkyria Chronicles series, nor have I ever played. I haven't played the game in the series. So
that's probably going to get more people coming at you than the comic book people.
Probably, but I hear a lot of good things about it. Same goes for the Persona series, which I've also never played. But again, like, it's
one day we'll get you away from Destiny.
Fair enough. I'm all for trying new things, man. And it seems like something I'd be into. Mm-hmm. So just haven't actually played it.
So just pick it up. It's cheap.
Maybe one day, my friend. Which one would you recommend that I try first?
Well, I would recommend you play the first one, Valkyria Chronicles. I mean, even if you're not gonna play it, there is an anime that you should watch for Valkyria Chronicles.
Okay.
So,
okay.
If you're not gonna play it, at least watch the show, and then you'll get an idea. I mean, it's a fun game. If you like strategy games like XCOM, I mean, I would compare it to XCOM, but they're two separate games. They're different enough that I think you could argue that I'm an idiot for making that comparison.
Right.
um,
It's like comparing XCOM to Fire Emblem, I guess.
no, those are more comparable than Valkyria
Okay.
Chronicles. But yeah,
Okay.
because Valkyria is more action oriented. Like it's more real time. And from my understanding, XCOM isn't as real time. Like you move around.
XCOM is turn-based. There's a grid and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Valkyria Chronicles kind of has a grid. It's more like a circle that you can move around in as long as you got energy.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, it's really good though. But just if you like strategy games like that, um, Valkyria Chronicles is a great game to pick up for strategy lovers.
Okay, sounds good to me. I'll have to look into that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So, on to our main topic for the episode, which is grinding in games. This actually was something I found when looking through the joystick forums. I was
Uh
looking
huh.
through a few days ago, and I found a post from one of the members of the community. And so, thank you to Kyle Peters for giving me the idea to run with the topic.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting credit on here now, my guy. Probably, and we'll find somebody to give you credit once you actually post the episode as well. But again, thanks, Kyle, for the idea. So, yeah, his comment got me thinking. It says, all these people bitching about Battlefront 2 hero grind clearly never grinded a Rainbow Six Siege operator. I'll get into that in a minute. But that, but my point being that was the comment that got me thinking, like, oh, we could do that for an episode. So yeah, grinding in games is going to be our discussion for this week. Thank you, Kyle, once again for.
You know that kind of sounded like the beginning of a rap song.
Did it?
You know, like
Well,
all these people bitching about the grind and Battlefront 2. Obviously, I can't rhyme, so don't sue me, you.
yeah, that was
Sorry.
a thing. That's going to be immortalized forever. So it brings up a multitude of discussions we could possibly have, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, let's just touch a little bit on the grind in games. So the big thing going on now, we're just gonna get out of the way early, so we can move on to other things. The big thing now is cutting out the grind,
Okay.
getting rid of it with microtransactions and things like that, buying heroes in packs or whatever it may be, instead of putting in the time to get said hero or whatever it may be in the situation we're talking about.
Okay.
It's sort of a double-edged sword because you were talking earlier about the Battlefront situation. There are people who don't have the time to grind for 40 hours to unlock one character
Yep.
when you can just buy them for you know $10 or whatever the price is. uh you know and then there's those people like me, who want to put in the grind because we have a little more time, or really just because if you really enjoy the game, you're willing to put in the work for it.
Right.
Gives you a sense of accomplishment.
Well, isn't it interesting that if we had the same conversation 10 years ago and we was talking about grinding in video games, we wouldn't be talking about buying a character or having a character, or even having like items that I have to grind to get. It would be like this was really hard. It took me forever. I grinded all day just to beat this one boss.
Yeah, or not only that though, just grinding to unlock characters in games. Playing through some sort of story mode or whatever. And you beat said character or something in a fighting game. That's how you unlock that character.
Yeah. Well, like we already mentioned it earlier, I grinded Super Mario Odyssey to get all 890 moons that I got.
Yeah, grinding those moons, man. I was grinding faction tokens for the last like week on
Yeah,
Destiny for the faction rally thing that was going on,
but
which
exactly,
came on RK1.
that's just what I'm saying. That's my point. Isn't it interesting that in just
Yeah,
1 decade, games have changed that much? That now, when we're talking about the grinding games, it's more about unlocking all the characters and paying for all the characters versus like how tough it is or how difficult. It's
yeah,
games are like they're becoming less difficult but taking longer to complete.
yeah, and you do have those niche games that are still on the more difficult side that do take you on a bit of a journey through a learning curve and really punishing you, like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, for example. Games like that, those are I guess more of the old school style of grindy games. You have to
Yeah.
learn your own attack patterns and all that other stuff.
Mhm.
And once you do, and once you learn, and once you beat, said boss, whatever it may be, that's where your satisfaction comes from.
Yep.
Yeah, as a quick story, I was playing Bloodborne a few months ago, and I got to the second boss of the game, and I fought this dude. I want to say at least 10, 15 times. Uh, just going back and forth, trying different things, and once getting to his final form, he'd always kill me, and it's just learning the map, learning the space you're in,
Mhm.
all that other stuff. I had I had maybe like one hit left, and I was dead, and I managed to get a flurry of attacks in and kill them, and I was like, yes! I was so happy because, again, something you put that time into, and you finally accomplish it, and you get past that hurdle. That's gratifying.
Yep. And
That's very gratifying.
I think people get the same gratification paying for that. If they could pay for that and they get that same gratification, I mean, the only
Mhm.
difference is that it doesn't stick with them as long. Like you still get that same pleasure. Like I did it. I completed this. It just doesn't stay as long. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'm not going to. Yeah, I mean, in my
Do it.
opinion, it doesn't like it also doesn't last that long. Pause. Um, but uh, but yeah, it's an interesting thing that you brought up there about the buying of whatever it is versus actually working towards it.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause like I said, there's different
Yeah.
kinds of people that will do those things. But I was looking through images for our for the show for this topic, and I saw a question that said, why do we grind in games, which is again to me interesting.
Right.
So I'm posing the question to you.
Well, I mean, for one, it's a good question, and I think each person would have a different answer to the question you ask. But it probably has to do with a sense of accomplishment. I mean, because most people, just in their normal lives, like they work hard to get what they want, whether it's getting money or like a car, whatever, or having to save up, for example, work dead end job to get money so you can get a car so that you can get a better job. That's kind of the same thing we do with our video games, with the way they're set to grind, where you have to get better slowly over time, and whether that's from buying characters or not, it kind of seems like that's what it is. It's for a sense of accomplishment. It's for a sense of, man, look what I have. Look how good I am. Look, see what I was able to do. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and I think that's kind of why. I don't know if you have a different answer or if you want to elaborate on that, but
Well,
that's probably
I will say that I agree with you, and that's the big reason why we grind. And it's also a piggyback statement off of that. Uh, I personally I grind for different things in addition to the sense of accomplishment. It's
Pause.
more so for the exclusive things that yeah. It's more so for the exclusive things that you can get from grinding in these games. If there is a certain thing that I can get that will set me apart from everyone else and make me look different, or make me play different or whatever it may be from the pack, then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do it because look what I have and look at what you don't have, or just or it's not so much of that though. It's more so look at me, look at the time that I put into this game. Look at my 280 level on Overwatch, or my friend who's now 302 or whatever. Look at my 3 gold
Hmm.
stars under my picture, whatever. I put this much time into the game, and this is how I'm going to present myself to you and everyone else who sees me.
Yeah.
So it's more so for the exclusiveness of things. But I think there's also another um, another thing that could be brought up here is that there's different kinds of grind in games. I
Shut up.
think.
Sorry. You just. Uh, okay, yeah, different kinds of
Wait,
grinds.
this is just one big like phrasing
I'm sorry.
episode.
I can't help it. The grind is a double entendre, meaning a couple different things. Okay.
We gotta be adults and professional. Keep it together. That's the whole point of the show. No, it's not. It's not the point of the show at all. Actually, just lied. Fully just lied to you.
Yep.
No, but there's different kinds of grinding games. You have the level grinding in RPGs. Where you're going like Pokemon, for example. You're going back to low level areas to get your low level Pokemon up to you know a higher level, or whatever it may be. There's loot grinding in games like Borderlands and Destiny, and there may be others that I'm forgetting. But if you can help me with that, maybe.
Um. Well, there's the grind like in 2K where you have to play the
Oh
game and you
yeah.
have to keep making certain shots or certain maneuvers in the game to
Mhm.
make your character better. Get them stinking badges.
Yeah. That's definitely a grind. The grind is real for those things. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. I've played 2K in a while, but no, it's the grind is something that's always gonna be there. In my opinion, it's not going anywhere.
Well, it's not going anywhere if people can continue to make money off of it. I mean, let's get real. Originally, games were difficult or they had a hard grind factor because of the arcades. And how
Right.
did you get people to spend money at arcades? Well, they put a quarter in and that got them a life or so many 3 lives or whatever. So you made the game so hard that if they wanted to continue to beat it, bam, there's another quarter. Bam, there's another quarter because they weren't good enough or they would get beaten or whatever. So as long as people continue to pay money, like with Star Wars Battlefront 2, if people pay money for that, then they're not going to stop. It's not like they said we've decided to get rid of people being able to pay for these characters. Period. They said no, we're going to bring payments back. Be
Yeah.
sure of that we're bringing it back.
Yeah, but I think what you're talking about there is a different kind of grind. I thought you were gonna go in the direction of something like
Dark Souls.
akin to a Dark Souls, because in those kinds of games, or even in Destiny, really, sorry to keep bringing up Destiny, but this is a current thing right now. You know you're not really paying to get these things. You're earning these things over the course of how you play the game. Even in games like Borderlands, you'll go fight a boss 3 4 times to try and get the best version of their weapon that they drop. You know, so uh, there is that side of it, Ken. I will agree with you that there's the money grind, but if you're paying $60 for a game and there's extra, no extra way to make money, and that's it.
Right. But I mean,
Besides
those.
DLC,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. um, I mean, every single one of those games that you mentioned has DLC that you can buy. Granted, they're not
Yeah.
microtransactions, and they're not. You're not like making purchases to get better weapons, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong, but um, they do have a DLC in them, and so
Yes.
they're a hard grind, but they still want you to pay more money for it.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know,
They do.
like I mean, their
They
whole
do. But
their
I
whole
think,
stick is we're super hard. Now give us extra money for this new level.
yeah, I get that. I get that. I guess maybe I'm interpreting your statement wrong, which is entirely possible. Um, but I guess I was thinking more so along the lines of loot boxes and getting rid of the grind versus a grind like a Borderlands or a Dark Souls or things like that. That's more so what I was thinking about, where you're not paying the extra money to get this weapon right now, versus having to go and get it yourself. I guess that's what I was getting at.
Right. And I can see that. But for someone like me, when I go through, usually with role playing games, specifically, we'll just bring up like
Mhm.
Final Fantasy, like the originals. When I got to a
Okay, yeah.
point where a boss was so hard and I had to go level up against like mini bosses and come back where I was stronger, that's usually where I quit. Like that's where I was like,
Right.
this is boring, it's dumb, I'm done. So I guess it's hard for me to see that as a grind, um, and more just an obstacle. It's not like if it was a mountain, I'm like, oh man, I gotta keep climbing up this mountain. It's more like this mountain's gonna take me like 2 days to climb up. No, thank you. you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I get what you're saying, but that's not where the market's going. Like, the market's not saying, hey, we want hard games that will um, keep people entertained for hours. It's going towards, hey, we need games that will keep people entertained for days and that they'll be willing to pay.
Yeah. The games now they
You know?
want you. They want their game to be the only game that you play for X amount of time,
Yeah.
or until the next
And
one comes out,
yeah, and
or
they want
whatever.
you to pay for it too. So that's just the way the market's going. So I guess I'm
Yeah.
that's why I'm bringing it up. I guess that's why I'm heading in that direction, and that's why I keep repeating. That's why
Yeah.
is because that's just where it's going. Like we're past the day and age, honestly, where grinding is just trying to beat a really hard game, or just working really hard without getting a reward, essentially,
Right.
without getting a loot
or
crate.
or in this case trying to unlock, yeah, right, or trying to unlock a character,
Yeah.
by beating Shao Kahn on the ultimate cheese mode, cheesy
yeah.
ass boss.
Yeah. Now it's like you need to beat Shao Kahn with all these different costumes and colors that look beautiful.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel that.
yeah. So that's
Because I,
yeah.
I, I yeah, I did want to talk about the Rainbow Six Siege thing, because and
Well,
then it'll be the last
all
thing
of
I say on that.
Ubisoft's online games have been that way.
Yeah,
Even
yeah, they definitely have.
even what is it, For Honor? That game is
Yeah.
just as bad as Rainbow Siege.
Mm-hmm. And personally, I hate it just because I don't play those games as much, and I would like to play with the new operators, but at the same time, I'm refusing to buy the
Hmm.
to spend the real money
I'm
by the operators. I want to play with them in time, but I don't want to put in all of that time to unlock one because
I'm curious
once you
though.
unlock.
Sorry, real
Mhm,
quick. What if like
yeah,
Destiny took that same model and did that?
give me an example if you can.
Well, like let's say, and maybe Overwatch is better, but let's say with Overwatch you had to pick your character and then you had to earn in-game currency to unlock whatever character you wanted to, and you had to grind to unlock those characters, or you could just pay for it and unlock Mercy or anyone
Yeah,
else.
no,
Because
that screams. Yeah, that reeks of like a MOBA style of a game to me.
right,
Um, in terms of how they handle the content.
although
Uh,
with most MOBAs I've seen, it's usually this character's free this day. Come back tomorrow and see what
yeah,
character is
and then
free,
right,
or
and
you
then
can
another
buy
free
this
character. Yeah,
character and have them permanently.
yeah. I
So,
think
but
I
this would be
Python.
like you have to play 200 games and then you have enough coinage to unlock this character. Because that's kind of
Yeah, no, it
how.
doesn't sit right with me. I don't know why. It just it rubs me the wrong way.
Okay.
It personally it does. And I guess I say this because I like being able to use everything. If I'm able to
Right.
at some point in time, and if somebody else has this character that maybe that is probably better than mine, or is a counter to mine, and if I can't use them, that's sort of uh, and whether they put in if they put in whether they put in the time for that or bought it is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if everyone should have an even playing field in that situation, because I could only imagine if you were playing as Farah, and you were playing against a Farah in competitive, for example, in Overwatch, and everybody on your team was, hey, do we have a soldier to counter the Farah? And everybody goes, no, I don't have soldier. Well, now we're screwed because we had a soldier, and now we're screwed, and we're gonna get wiped, and we'll have a harder time taking out the Farah because no one bought the soldier.
Or now we're screwed because we played Blizzard $60 for this game.
like it doesn't
So,
and the thing with Rainbow Six situation is that each time you bought a character, the price of the next character would go up. So if I turn on my Xbox right now and loaded up Siege, I could tell you exactly how much the next character would cost me to get. I'm not gonna do that because it'll take a little bit to ruin the show.
yeah.
But it's a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot of
Mulu?
in-game currency. You can just buy it,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I just don't want to. So I'm kind of stuck playing with the default heroes and not any of the new ones because I didn't buy the DLC, or I didn't, do whatever, or I didn't, just things like that. So that grind is something that I'm not a fan of. We'll put it that way.
Right.
I do appreciate the question though. It's a good question.
Well, hashtag the grind is real, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. We'll come back to that later. So let's transition. I think we've talked about that for long enough.
Right.
Let's transition into our community segment.
Community segment!
We asked you guys if you had a collection of video game related items, or if there was a particular piece you were extra proud of. Got a few responses. One from Noah Pulley saying that he loves his Zelda Ocarina of Time mousepad. He says it's my favorite game of all time, and it gives me feels every time I look at it. Which that's something that I imagine is was most people's first video game, depending on how old you are. It's one of the ones you remember you have the most fond memories of. So I could definitely see why that mousepad definitely is and it is a prized possession for him.
Yeah.
And I should have said this before, but I'm gonna say it now because I'm gonna butcher his name. I feel it. If I butcher your name, apologize. Just a human, not a robot. So, Drew Gishwind says well, he actually posted a picture of his collection, and it looks really, really dope. But he says that he's proud of his Hotline Miami Gamers Edition, and the picture he has is just a quarter of his collection. So it looks really, really cool. If you haven't seen the comment in the post, I suggest going to check it out because it's really dope. And he goes on to say that this was before the standard price of games jumped to $80 and collector's editions at $200 in Canada. So
Wow.
yeah, that's
a lot of money.
That's even more impressive. It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it or not, but that's impressive.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out. And yeah, it's really cool. But anyway, thanks guys for answering the question for last week. I have a new question for you this week, which we will get to. I'll get there. Actually, you know what? No, we'll start with that. We'll lead into what we're gonna do in a minute with this. So our new question of the week for this week is, what are you thankful for this year in gaming? And right now we are going to tell you a few of the things that we are thankful for this year in gaming. Ken, why don't you go ahead and start?
All right. Well, I am thankful for EA, because without them, we wouldn't know what true evil is.
True evil.
True evil.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. So I am thankful for Guerrilla Games. Guerrilla Games, you showed me that you can make a good game in Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's something that I really never cared about before in Killzone. So thank you for making a game that I actually care about. Appreciate it.
Yes. I'm also thankful for the Xbox One X. It's a 4K upgrade at a 4K price.
Shit is expensive, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, so I know it's kind of joking, but I am really thankful for it. It looks really nice on my 4K TV. Like, I actually found out that my 4K TV has HDR before they called it HDR.
Nice, there you go. Fantastic. So, I am also thankful for EA because you have shown me that you don't really care about BioWare. Disappointing. I'm still crying over Andromeda and what that game could have been if you let them take their time or put the A studio on the game.
I'm sorry. That's just funny. Made me laugh. So I am also thankful for the Nintendo Switch. It's a great blending of what a portable and a home console can do. And also, thanks to the Switch, coming in 2019, the Microsoft Shift and the PlayStation Swap.
That's fantastic. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end mine on a lighthearted and more serious one, I guess. So, I'm really thankful for all the games that have come out for this year because this has been one of the better years for gaming, in my opinion. Even though I didn't get to all the ones that I really, really wanted to, like Persona 5 and Nier Automata, or Nier Automata, whatever. But those are games that I didn't get to this year.
Automaralista.
It's been a really good year for games, and I'm so thankful that I am alive and well to witness all this greatness that is happening in front of my eyes. And I'm hoping that 2018 will be another year for great games, but we'll get into that later on, I'm sure.
Yes. And I'll end my thankfulness with Microsoft for them canceling Scalebound. Because as I mentioned last episode, I have too many games.
I forgot about scale. Don't hurt my soul. I'm with you. I'm with you. I feel that. I feel that in my heart. Oh my god. So yeah, we want to know. I know this is kind of jokey, and we did this similar thing last year, but I liked it so much that we were doing it again. So, but really, and, you know, I want to thank you guys as well. Again, the Joystick Entertainment community for welcoming us and supporting us through the rough patch that was the earlier part of, or the latter part of this year, where we took a bit of a break, and now we've come back and we've been consistent again. It feels really good to be doing this again, and I just want to thank you guys and you, my co-host as well, Ken, for your support. You know, keeping me sort of grounded when things got rough over the course of the past year. So thanks for that, my friend.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. I'm thankful to just have something to do every week.
Yeah, every weekend we get together and talk games. It's wonderful. It's fantastic.
Yeah. But no, I'm thankful to everyone at Joystick who brought me on, because I was the lone wolf, the crazy MacGuffin, the guy who hadn't heard about any of it when I was brought on. And it allows me to outlet my, I guess, gaming conundrums in my head in a safe manner.
Yes, safe.
Yeah, so definitely I'm thankful to have you and everything else we have going for us right now. So I appreciate you, and thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Very welcome. And one last thing, just in a combination shout out to Noah and Jose for allowing me to bring you on as well.
Right.
So
and I'm thankful that they agreed to be on an episode. Wink.
Yeah, we'll get them on at some point, but I think we're done with this one, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
And we're out of here. Thank you all so much for listening to episode 22 of the R&R Gaming Podcast. Once again, we are a part of the Joystick Entertainment Network. Before we get out of here, Ken, tell them where to find you and the podcast.
So you can find me on Twitter at MacRoboV. That's MacRobov. You can find the podcast on Twitter at R&R Gaming Pod. That's RANDR Gaming POD. Of course, Joystick, you can find them at Joystick ENT. That's JOYSTIKENT. We've also started our new Castbox, which is a MP3 downloading service that you can get for iTunes and for Android. And so that is, we're putting our episodes out there, and it's available there if you just want the podcast version and don't want the extra images for it. And that's just R&R Gaming Podcast. You can also find us in the games and hobbies section if you just look through there far enough down. But you can also find Byron on Twitter at
Bron1417. That's capital B RON 1417. You can find me on Twitch streaming whenever I feel like it nowadays at twitch.tv/Bron_1417. And that's twitch.tv/Bron underscore, or not Bron, B_Ron1417. So that has been our show for this week. Got a few more episodes left before we go on our holiday break. And Ken, we're gonna have another show next week, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
If not next week, then the week after that, because it's Thanksgiving, so we might do one next week. If not, then it'll be the week after.
Yeah, it's still up in the air depending on if family comes down or not. So we'll definitely keep our people posted if we decide to not have an episode up. But if we do, come back next week, because everyone could use a little more R&R. Did you see the Rampage movie trailer? It stars The Rock.
Wait, The Rock is